Starfield on the highway. Let's take a Sunday drive on the open road. Hello everyone, this is Richard. Welcome to Starfield Essentials. Now that we have vehicles in Starfield, what about roads? If you'd like to take Andreja or Sarah or anyone else for a Sunday drive around New Atlantis or a few other locations, now you can. In this video, I try out the Galactic Highway Network mod by The Milk Artist. This mod, currently only available for PC via Nexus Mods, is incredibly fun and creative. It adds highways, parking, and in one case, large elevators to cities like New Atlantis, Akila City, Cydonia, Gagarin, Neon, and Hopetown. This mod will likely not be compatible with mods that also modify the exteriors of these locations, so have reliable saves ready before testing. I'll show some examples of the roads for each location, and I'll finish the video by showing a few vehicle mods that I have tried. Using this mod is easy, just add it to your load order. Once the mod is installed, the best way to see where the roads are is to use the overhead map. If you want to jump ahead to see the roads for each location, please check the timestamps in the video description. I'm going to show most of the roads for each location in this video, for a few reasons. First, this is a really wonderful achievement by modder the Milk Artist. Second, especially for New Atlantis, the roads really show off how large some of these locations are. And finally, this is literally a Sunday drive, so I'm going to take my time and offer unscripted comments along the way. Let's start with New Atlantis. Here we are looking at the New Atlantis map, and I guess when you look at the map, it doesn't look that large, but once you start driving, you realize just how big this place is. And two features that might catch your attention are at the left and right of the screen. Those are the giant elevators that have been created by the Milk Artist. The elevators are required to change levels. Now I'm taking a zoom in there at a parking area. We'll see that in the video as well. Let's take a look at one of these elevators. I had a little bit of confusion when I first used the elevator. I didn't actually realize there was an elevator there. That part's not in the video because you don't need to see me fumbling around trying to get access to an elevator. One of the things you want to figure out with these maps is how do you get to the road? And you can see that the access point to get to the road is right behind your ship when you land. So I think Andreja is with me for this part of the ride. Previously when I was... Yeah, I have a little bit of trouble avoiding those giant gaps in the road there. But here we are. I'm an American, so I'm going to drive on the right side of the road. And there's no one else out here, so you may see me driving down the center of the road. I don't actually stay in a lane. This is one of the elevators. And initially, I couldn't tell that it was an elevator. I should have probably figured that out, but when I first saw it, I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe this is just where it ends. There you go, Andreja. Andreja loves the boost. This is a really high-quality production, as far as I'm concerned. And when you see the other roads, you'll notice that they're not all the same, which I think is pretty creative by the mod author. And there are some of these obstacles. We'll see those later on. I had a little bit of trouble with some of those. And I'm running a NVIDIA 4070 Ti Super. I'm running with 4K, DLSS, DLAA. So you'll see that some of the vegetation will spawn as we're driving along, particularly when I'm in boost mode. Initially, when I was driving, I would cut through the other lane. And you might be wondering, well, where are the curves here? Why don't we have nice curved assets? And it turns out the martyr, the Milk Artist who created this, used in-game assets to create all of this. And there aren't any curved junctions, essentially. So we're stuck with these Tron-esque corners that we have to navigate. Now we're coming up on another elevator. And by this point, I had figured out what these elevators were and how they worked. And you can see that there's a sign. And by the way, the signs, everything about this is just so top-notch. I'm just so impressed by this. So you could see that the sign said, oh shoot, did it say residential district? I can't remember. But we'll get out of the car, get out of the rover, and we've got these two buttons. And I think I pushed the one on the right, didn't do anything. I imagine if the elevator were up in the air, it would come down. This button is going to bring us up. So now we are rising. And I jumped in the car because I really had no idea of how long this would take. And yes, Andreja, it is a fine day for a drive. That's what inspired me to record in this manner. So it turns out this takes a really long time. And so I'm showing you sort of real time as the elevator is rising. Maybe this could be sped up, but here I'm accelerating at 4 times normal time. So we're making good progress now. And just look at how beautiful the city is around us. Really nice. Now you can see we're approaching the off-ramp up there, so I slowed down. Speed up one more time, another 4 times acceleration. And now we're encountering our section of the road, and the ramp simply lowers, and now we're off again. Now can you see what I mean about the scope and scale of the city here? And there's the landing pad. There's my ship on the right, and there's another ship on the left. I know some people have criticized Starfield for not seeming that large, but when you get a chance to drive around the cities here, I think it really brings a sense of just what we're dealing with. I mean, oh, and that's cool. There's a ship that just took off. I'm not a big fan of the term immersion and immersion breaking, but for me, this was a really immersive experience because I'm just driving along. You know, the journey itself is what's enjoyable. And ships are taking off, ships are landing. Now, there aren't any NPCs, which I guess makes sense because this is a highway. Why would there be NPCs around? But I don't really see them anywhere else, which would be kind of nice to see some NPCs. Now I'm behind the lodge. Off to my left is the lodge. And here's an off-ramp. So I could, if I wanted to, park, which I love the fact that there are parking lots added here. And there's a stairway if I wanted to get out and use the stairs. Park my car, or I'm actually from Boston, so I guess I would park my car. And then I would get out and walk down the steps, and I would go to work at the lodge. Isn't that funny? So I decided to keep going. I want to make the full circuit around the city. Oop, a little bit of a problem there. Jemison is a cool planet in the sense that there's water around the city of New Atlantis. So that makes for some nice visuals. I can see there's another off-ramp up ahead. And there are these little visual points of interest, like this a little bit of a barrier here. And it looks like there's some kind of, perhaps a security checkpoint at this area. There are no NPCs. This struck me as being some kind of a scanner. Some kind of a device like that. Nothing is active. There's no limitation. You simply just drive through it. I went through slowly. Now you have to be a little bit careful here because there are some barriers. But once again, we have an off-ramp and we have a parking lot. And it's cool that there are some of those unused vehicle types that we saw in various areas. And I know some of you in the comments, you're going to recognize exactly where this is. I don't. It seems like perhaps that's an embassy. I have to say I'm not that familiar with the layout of New Atlantis. I don't usually spend a lot of time there. But, whoop, okay. This is why we're in a rover. We can get over concrete barriers. Figured I would continue. Try to make our way all the way around the city. I love the fact that this is elevated too. It's above the water. And you can see the landscape looks pretty good. There's kind of a haze today. I prefer driving where it's a lot clearer, so I do have some footage of that in this video. But this is overall a pretty good day for New Atlantis. Off to the right, you can see another one of those elevators. Just sort of, I think that's the SSNN building off to the left. Jemison is a really nice planet when you take a look around and look at the environment. At one point in one of my playthroughs, I did create a retirement home or a home away from home there for my player. So here we are. This is the other elevator. This is the elevator that is almost, it's very close to being behind your spaceship. And initially when I approached it, I didn't take it. I turned around and drove off. There's the other elevator you can see off in the distance there. That's the one we used originally, so you can get a sense of how far we've come. So I'm going to hit the button, and this is going to bring the elevator up to me. Because once the elevator arrives, and boy, this is pretty scary looking out over the edge. I have a fear of heights. Not a debilitating fear of heights, but I would never do this in real life. I would never get that close to the edge. And my Rev 8 there has got a little bit of a gangster lean. Oh, and at this point, Andreja is unhappy face Andreja. I don't know if it's a mod that I'm using that's messed things up, but every once in a while, both Andreja and Sarah have unhappy looking faces. So, as with the other elevator, this takes a really long time. So I've done some acceleration of the video to try to speed things up. So now the elevator is approaching. We're getting ready to get on board. I've sped things up again. Here we go. The ramp has finally arrived. I'm ready to board the elevator. Drive onto the elevator. And oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, 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 no. How did I drive off the end? Quick, eject, eject, eject. Oh, man. Okay. I managed to eject. Try to come down with a soft landing using my boost pack. Try. Okay, not too bad. No damage there, but what the heck just happened? There's some kind of a gap between the edge of the elevator and the back of the elevator, and I drove right off the edge. That was embarrassing. Andreja didn't say anything about it, though. So here we go. We're going to have to find our way back onto the highway, which I managed to do. So if you're going to do this in the future, just be careful of how you're driving with the elevator. So that was New Atlantis. Absolute top-notch. Love it. Love it. Great job. The Milk Artist. Next location, Gagarin. There isn't a whole lot to Gagarin. I went here because it's in the same Alpha Centauri star system, but as far as what is actually there, the only addition seems to be this little parking lot off to the side. So I imagine perhaps if you were to drive from off settlement and you needed a place to park your Rev 8, you would come over here and you would park it in one of these spots, and then you would walk into the city. But that's about it as far as what's at Gagarin. Let's check out Mars, Cydonia. And Cydonia has quite a decent infrastructure set up around it, almost all the way around the city. And as you can see, there's a lot to Cydonia when we're going to traverse it using the Rev 8. So let's take a look at Cydonia and see what it's like in a rover. Andreja is with me once again, and I'm trying to remember where the on-ramp is as we're getting into the rover. I seem to remember it's somewhere behind my ship, and immediately I can see the road, and I don't see what looks like a ramp of any kind. I can see sort of a dirt on-ramp here, so I figure that must be the way on. So might have to bounce off some rocks, do a little bit of boosting, but here we are. Now, this is a cool aspect of this area. Look at those signs. Spaceport behind me, Mars launch pad to the left, deep mines to the right, and the sign is its own font. It's different than what you'd see at New Atlantis. I really like the look of that. That's a nice touch. The right corner, the Tron corners are a little bit difficult, but we'll manage. At this location, we can go left, we can go right, or there is one of those unused or undrivable vehicles blocking the road in front of me. And it looks like I could go to the deep mines to the left, back to the spaceport on the right. And I don't want to do either one of those. I want to keep going around the city. I like how the Mars has those tents as well, but we'll just boost right over it. I should have gone a little bit more to the left. And now I'm going to have to go to the right to get around one of those unusable vehicles. Do you remember when vehicles were teased? A lot of us wondered whether those vehicles would be in the game. And I'm not a huge immersion person, but I love seeing ships landing. That's really cool. Signs, top-notch. So we have a little bit of runway here. Let's make our way along the Cydonia Highway. Good use of lights in this location. All of these lights are from the outposts, I think. Off to the left, I believe that's the sunrise. So it's pretty cool to think about the sun rising over Mars. But we don't need to go out there into the wilderness. We will continue on around the city. That's right, we're having fun now, taking advantage of this lower Mars gravity. I'm not sure how many of you are fans of the TV show The Expanse, but I love how gravity has a real effect on everything in that show. If you're from Mars, you have a harder time going to Earth. If you're a belter, you have a really hard time going to any planet. Like when Naomi went to Illis, she had to take all kinds of drugs to just have her bone density be enough to be on the planet. So I love the way gravity is obviously the way it is in Starfield, and I like to see other sci-fi shows take that into account. I'm trying the headlamps here in the the rover, and they look better when you don't have other lighting sources, but we'll turn them off in a moment here. It's a little bit hazy on Mars, which I guess makes sense if you're living in a dusty area. I know that there's some filters you could use with Starfield. I haven't tried any of those. I know some of you have. Please feel free to leave a comment if you're using any of the different ways to sort of take a look at Starfield. Again, great lighting as it's showing where I need to go. Another parking lot. It'd be cool to see other rovers. People drive to work. Having a little bit of trouble with my three-point turn. It's kind of tough to say what I should be doing, right? Because there's that dot. I have a little trouble with that. I'm using the flexible controls, not the... Or excuse me, I'm using the traditional controls, not the flexible controls. I haven't done a lot of scanning in this game from the rover. It's a little bit too much for me to manage. I also kind of like sort of having a clean view of what's going on as opposed to having... Yeah, there we go, let's go. I like having more of a cleaner view as opposed to having the scanner open all the time. I know that some of you have mods to turn off the HUD or other things as well. This is where the driving gets a little more challenging. And I assume this is part of the design. This is a single lane road that you can use to continue your journey, which I appreciate. Just means I have to pay more attention as I'm finding my way along. And I do a pretty good job with this, I think. I slow down here and there, but I don't end up falling off the path. Now we're in another sort of industrial area with some parking spots. And there's no barriers. Oh, I think I see my ship off in the distance. Is that what that is? I think it might be. Gives me a little sense of where I might be, but I'm going to slowly inch my way across this it's almost a walkway, right? But we'll get there. We'll find our way across. And I think I'm getting close to where I first entered. Mars does have some really nice landscape to it. I think sort of the industrial look to it, and obviously being the red planet. And I'm glad I was here at night because it gave me a chance to show what it's like when you're driving around and there are lights turned on for that external illumination. That looks like my ship off to the right there, so I think we're getting close. I got so distracted by my ship I forgot how to turn. So here we go. And I guess this is where, yeah, this is where I should get off. And I'm recognizing this area now because I remember there were those splotches of red Martian dirt across the highway. And this was Cydonia. I really liked what the modder, the milk artist, did with this location. Very nicely done. Great use of the highway. Good creativity. Love it. Next location, Akila City, the Old West. What do we have for roads around Akila City? Well, turns out not much, as you might expect. It wouldn't make much sense to have Akila City have dirt on the inside of the city and then paved roads around the outside. So basically we have some road outside of the spaceport, and we have possibly a bridge, and that's going to be about it. And this is where we're going to encounter a mechanic or a method that the mod author introduced of markers, where if you follow the markers, that's the intended way to find your way along the path. So off we go. There's a ship. You're lucky I'm in the Rev 8 today, ship, because otherwise I probably would have stolen you. But not today. We're on the road today. We're not stealing ships. I really like how these roads have different stripes. So these are green stripes. The side of the road has that cool border. It looks like some kind. It almost looks like a something for electricity. And then you've got those steel wiring, solar panels. That's what that looks like on the right. And you've got those cool wooden Akila signs. Now, here I am, just sort of bounding along. There are markers, and I'm not noticing them now because I don't know what I'm looking for. Maybe if it had been at night and they were illuminated, I would have noticed them, but I figured I'm just going to drive along, and I'm going to try to stay as close to the city walls as I can, because that must be the intended path. That's probably not true, because as you can see, going up there would take me into the city, or underneath a bridge in the city, so that's not right. And it's possible I should be going farther away from the city, because there are some farms and the like, and I just got a little frustrated there and decided I'm going to try to boost my way through this. And then I noticed, oh, okay, look, there's some barriers and some posts. That must be something, so I need to follow those. This was the sort of the main... And I finally made my way through the first marker. Look at that. I finally found some markers that I could use. This was really the only comment that I made to the mod author was it'd be nice to have those markers at a place like Akila City be more prominent. So I like these wooden barriers. Those are really easy to see, but the markers are just too hard when they're far away. They just disappear in the grass. So you can imagine you come in from the farm, you come in from the mine, wherever it is, and you find your parking spot here. And then you get out of your rover and you knock on the doors to Akila City and you say, hello, can I come in? I'm not an Ashta. Here you can see where I'm located, and you can see where the next bit of road is, off to the middle lower part there. So clearly I'm not anywhere near that, so I'm kind of wondering, where should I go now? But I'll turn around, I'll head back off, and I'll see if I can find some more of those markers. Once again, love the fact that the road is green and not yellow like the other locations. Definitely has its own character. Trying to find the... So I went through the markers and it leads me right towards rocks. Is that right? And I have some kind of autonomous farm vehicle down there. Got a little bit of concrete on the left. Got some robots. I figured, I'll come over this way. Maybe this is where I should be going. Try not to hit the robot. Take advantage of the road around the farm. Probably gonna have to boost over this. Where's the marker? Where should I be going? Thankfully I have my boost. Another one of those farm areas. Looks like we have another parking area over here. Yeah, I don't know if there's a way in actually, or is that's just for parking? Probably is just parking. I'm not sure where you're supposed to go from there. But it is what it is. Careful not to hit the robot. Looking for the markers. And I see some pavement to the right. That looks promising. Gotta boost my way over. Fine. This is a bridge, apparently. And here we can see some of those barriers. I really like those. Those make it easy for me to see them far away. Like those barriers. Wish those would replace the other markers. And up ahead I can see highway, so that's good. I'm making my way back to the spaceport. Nice. So Akila City. See, look at the sort of the worn-looking light posts on the right. Got the traffic cones. Great attention to detail. There's the ship I'm not going to steal today. No, I'm back in the neighborhood. Oh, the ship's taking off. That's just great. Love it. Love it when ships are taking off or leaving. Make my way back to my ship. Boost my way in. Excellent job with Akila City. Just wish the markers were a little more prominent. Here we are in the Volii system, the planet of Polvo and Hopetown. This is where Marika is from. This is where that jerk Ron Hope has his empire. As you can see, there's a decent highway around it, not all the way around, so we'll have to take a look and see if they have markers for where you should go. This is a nice balance, though, between the sort of rustic or the developing area. Sorry, Andreja, you get your angry face on. Can't help you with that. Well, I'll try to help you with that. We'll go on a nice Sunday drive, right? That's what we're here for. So let's find our on-ramp back here somewhere. I need to pay more attention when I'm taking a look at the map. But there it is. And this is something that I really like about the Hopetown location. You have vegetation, you have those red and white blocks. That's awesome. And there are no stripes on the highway, which I like that too. Yes, peak velocity, Andreja. I like the fact that there aren't stripes on this highway. Again, it's something different from the other locations. And I don't know what those blocks are on the left and right, but whatever they are, I like them. It's different. No guardrails. And as you can see, this road takes you through a bunch of industrial infrastructure. So off in the distance, we have satellite dishes. We have extractors off there on the right. And I could easily see someone getting into their vehicle and driving out to the extractors. Checking them out, making sure they're working properly. Of course, not running into them. That is not the best idea. Trying to... Once again, 3-port turning. Trouble with my controls, but not too bad. Here I'm wondering whether I should have tried to get back onto some sort of road or just look for any kind of marker for an off-road path. And I wonder just how much of this... See, you can see off to the left there, that was a path, and I can see there's a dirt road here, so... Finding my way back, okay. I like the fact that there's vegetation coming through the highway. This sort of strikes me as Ron Hope likes to talk a good game, but he's not taking care of the basic necessities. It's like, if there are potholes, there'd be potholes in this. Yes, Andreja, we are better when we are faster, yes. So these, to me, these are like potholes, seeing the vegetation come through. I know that's a pain when you're building your own outpost, but here it seems to work very well. As I approach the end of this road, I'm wondering which way do I go. I have a sense I need to go left, obviously, because there's the factory building. But I wonder what's off to the right. Is there some other facility that I could take a look at? And that to me is what this mod has really done. So it sort of helps to tie together the area that we're looking at. And we have a ship landing, taking a little time to take a look at that. Just love it. Love watching the ships land. Let's go off to the right and see what's out there. Looks like it might be a radio tower. Being able to drive to these locations, it just changes everything. I mean, who in their right mind walks everywhere on the scale of what we're talking about? I mentioned the TV show The Expanse before, but I've also been watching For All Mankind. And in For All Mankind, on the moon, what did they use? They used rovers. Sure, you had to walk, but if you had to walk, it meant probably something was wrong. Now, there were some locations they walked to and from because they were close, but anything they had, any place they had to go that was a decent distance away, they didn't walk there. They took their rover. And that makes sense. So I'm glad that we have a rover now in Starfield. And we can see that there are markers here. They have an orange top on the post. Again, they're a little bit difficult to see, the same as we saw in Akila City. So I would like to see those markers replaced with something a little bit more visible. And clearly at this point, I don't know where I am. I mean, I know I have a sense generally of where I am, but I'm clearly off whatever the designated road was. But I can see my ship up there, so I'm probably just going to brute force my way back to the ship. So Hopetown, really liked Hopetown. It's an interesting location, visually pretty cool. It's a settlement, but a lot going on at Hopetown. Great job. Now, Neon. What can be done on Neon? Because Neon is, as we know, it's a platform over the ocean. And from the bird's eye view here, I don't see any highway around it, which wouldn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense, I guess, because why would you do that? You know, why would you have a highway around a platform? So in this case, and you can't really see it from this overhead view, but the only addition is a second walkway. And I guess it's technically not a walkway because it's for your Rev 8, but that is what we're going to be using to demonstrate the addition from this Galactic Highway mod. So as you look on the right, you can see that is the original walkway, and on the left there is a second bridge, covered bridge, I guess. And I'm driving in third-person view, and once I get, you know, slowly inching my way forward, suddenly because of those trusses, I guess, it starts switching between third and first, or different versions of third-person view, which is very distracting. Thankfully, when you go to first-person view, you don't see it, but I personally have a harder time driving with first-person view. But I made it across the walkway. And rather than doing a three-point turn, I'm going to go back across the proper walkway. I'll do it in first-person view again. Have a little trouble driving, but we'll make our way across. So not a lot added to Neon. Maybe there'll be something more in the future. If you have any ideas, please leave a comment or, you know, leave a message on the Nexus Mod listing. Now, I wanted to show some of the other cars that are available via mods. And I'm just going to quickly zip through them here, and I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to try driving it. I just wanted to show you some of the ones that I thought looked pretty cool. You may recognize some of them from Halo or other games that actually I don't play, but I'm vaguely aware of. So what we're going to try is this 1967 Miura, and we're going to see how that thing works. Now, there's a problem with these mods in that you may have to use your keyboard and the E key in order to make them active. I play with a controller, and the controller doesn't work, and it seems to be a known problem. So I'm going to jump into this Lamborghini, and immediately we can see there's some problems with this Lamborghini. It's bouncing all over the place. And first I thought, well, maybe this... Well, look at that. I'm up on two wheels. This, you know, hey, maybe some of you would consider this a feature as opposed to a bug. And by the way, on the left there, that was Paisley Hopkins. I encountered her on a location, and Grumble is still inside my ship. He walks around inside the ship, and sometimes he gets in the way, and I don't know what to do about him at this point. But look at that. I'm driving on two wheels in my Lambo. I think it's appropriate that it's green. That's a pretty sweet color. And yep, here we go. I am basically able to drive this, but clearly this is not right. Now, I was hoping that maybe there was just an issue with this particular mod, and that once I got onto a highway, things would sort of settle. But with this vehicle, by the way, that's the boost speed, so that's pretty cool. And you know, I can elevate pretty good here, but I'm starting to worry if that was a bad idea because with this mod being so unstable, you know, what kind of success am I going to have driving this thing? Oh. Now, I've never played GTA or anything like that. Back in my Commodore 64 days, I loved playing, I think it was Need for Speed. It might have been Need for Speed 3. I can't remember. It was so long ago. We're talking like, you know, over 30 years ago I would play driving games. So this is pretty fun, though. And we're getting some good air. And I figured, okay, at this point, things seems to be working. And then, oh, no. This is not going well. Try to get back onto the highway. And Andreja is worried about disturbing aquatic life. Now, thankfully, this guy still performs pretty decently as a boat, and the boost works underwater, so I kind of have a green submarine here. So there may be some of you who know what the problem is with this mod, and it isn't this mod's fault. In fact, it isn't even this mod at all. There's a problem essentially with the way that new vehicles spawn in when you use them as mods, and I'll show you how to fix that in the next segment. But for now, I'm going to try driving out, driving out of the water. I'm trying to boost my way back onto the road. Yeah, Andreja, we'll get there in no time. Well, I don't know. Look at that. Where I'm on the side. This doesn't look like it's going to work out very well, but I see the highway. There must be a way back to it. So I eventually find my way back, and I realize I did some research, and I found that my car is still bouncing there. Essentially, there's a problem with these modded vehicles, or at least the way that they're implemented. And I'm going to switch to a different vehicle here to demonstrate how you fix the problem. So it's not simply that one Lamborghini. It's every vehicle has this problem. So this one, this one's even more unstable. I wonder if the Lamborghini was more stable because it was lower to the ground, and this guy was had a higher center of gravity. So I thought, oh, maybe maybe it was just the Lambo. No, this thing is completely out of control. There's probably some people who would really enjoy this kind of thing, I guess, being able to drive on one wheel. But I almost gave up at this point. I thought, well, okay, I really like the Rev 8. Maybe I don't need to drive these mods, but there's got to be a reason for this. There's got to be a way to fix it. Other people are having fun, so I got to figure out what the problem is. So I did some research, and I found out that when you spawn in a new vehicle via mod this way, what you basically have to do is you have to fast travel away. And so I'm going to fast travel away from my vehicle. I'm going to go up to the lodge. Quick look at unhappy Andreja. And then I'm going to travel back. And here I've already switched back to the Lambo. And at this point, it works great. No problem excuse me, no problem whatsoever. Even getting the hang of how to drive this thing. Maybe a little bit too aggressive there. Missed my on-ramp. But the basic issue is if you spawn in a new vehicle, in fact it's any vehicle, if you were to spawn in the Rev 8 you'd have the same problems as you were just seeing. So what you got to do is you spawn in the new vehicle, you have to leave the cell, so fast travel somewhere else. And it makes me wonder if going into your ship might result in the right kind of change as well, because you're going from an exterior to an interior cell. But for me, I just fast travel to the lodge. And once you do that and you come back to the location, the vehicle will handle properly. And at this point, my Lambo's great. Good boost, good stability, and it's performing just as you would expect. So I think this is pretty fun, being able to drive a Lamborghini in Starfield. You can see Andreja's hand there is out the window holding onto the roof as she would in the Rev 8. So that works well when you've got a roof that, that works that way. And yeah, didn't quite handle the corner there. But there you have it. Things work well. You just have to leave the cell, return to the cell, and things will be fine. Let's try one more vehicle. This is an M12S, which I think is from Halo. Please correct me. Leave me a comment. Like I said, I don't play Halo. But I wanted to try, and here I am fast traveling, right? So I'm getting away from that cell. Unhappy Andreja at the lodge. I'm going to go back to the spaceport, and once I do that, the vehicle will handle as expected. But I wanted to try a vehicle that had a weapon on it. The Lambo didn't have a weapon. I love it. Andreja recognizes that she gets road rage. But here we are. We're driving this M12S. Find my way onto the highway here. And there's a machine gun. Look at that thing. Now, inside, pretty basic, but still pretty cool. Can't see Andreja. I see her knee. Can't see my hands. That's okay. No problem. Trying the machine gun. I gotta find something to shoot. Not gonna find anything on the highway, but let's see how this thing performs on the highway. Now, apparently I'm probably one of the few people who liked the Halo TV show. In fact, I really liked it. I loved Season 1, and Season 2, to me, was even better. Love the actor, Pablo Schreiber, I think his name is. Love the characters. Not as good as The Expanse, not as good as For All Mankind, but I really liked that show, and I was sad to see that it was canceled after 2 seasons. I know a lot of Halo fans did not like the show, and I think that's because it is not the video game, and I respect that. The same thing has happened with the Foundation TV series. Foundation, the TV series, has almost nothing to do with the Foundation books. And it would have been better if they had just called it something else. And I have a feeling that if Halo had been similar, if it had been just called something else or said inspired by Halo but not called it Halo, then that would have made a difference. So here we go. We're going to go try to find some creatures. And the Halo vehicle here floats, which is nice. It's not underwater like the like the Lambo. But we got to find something to try this machine gun, because you may have a sense that this machine gun has got some nice firepower behind it. Definitely more so than the laser that comes with the Rev 8. So I can see some packed coral bugs up ahead. Let's see what we can do with those guys. Andreja's already getting excited. Yeah, look at that machine gun, just knocking those arrows down. So pretty good. This vehicle performs pretty well. I think this would be a good alternative for some of you who want to go with something a little bit more militaristic. Check out that ship landing off in the distance. Really love that. What do you think of the highway mod? What more would you like to see? Please let me know in a comment below. If you made it to this part of the video, leave a comment saying Convoy. Also, remember to ring the bell icon and select all notifications if you think there should be more vehicles in the game. If you'd like to hear my summary of all the Shattered Space news from Gamescom, check out my Starfield news playlist. My name is Richard, and I will see you in the Starfield.